Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Space Snacks. It is my pleasure to be talking with Bailey Burns today. Hi, Bailey. it
Hi.
is so good to connect with you. How are
Yeah,
you doing today?
I'm good. Had some faulty connection problems before, but now we're doing good.
Ah,
And
yeah.
yeah,
I got to
just
tell everybody that Bailey looked like a ghost. It was actually quite entertaining. I wish I'd gotten a screenshot of that, but she was
I'll
all
go back and do it again so we can.
just because it was so unusual and so
It was
cool.
creepy. Yeah, yeah. But other than that, it's just a normal Monday.
Yeah, normal Monday, being online, trying to figure it all out,
Yeah,
right?
life in quarantine for sure.
So you're a young engineer, so you recently graduated. Where did you graduate from?
Colorado School of Mines, which is not as well known, but it's mines like mining, not like mines or mimes.
Funny enough, but 30 years ago, that was one of the schools that I was thinking of, was the Colorado School of Mines, especially when I was about to go to grad school, about thinking about applying and going there. And so you're the first person that I know that actually went there.
And that makes sense because I mean that school is known for its geology, for its mining and
Yes.
that kind of stuff. So yeah, that would have been a really good fit for you. Even though it didn't work out, you probably could still go to their museum and really enjoy the stuff there.
Oh, I know. When I'm in Colorado, I definitely want to go check it out and stuff.
I'll take you to. I'll take you on a tour. It'll be fun.
So when you were there, did you study space?
I did not actually. I studied mechanical engineering. Weirdly enough, CU Boulder is the only college in the state of Colorado that can hand out an aerospace engineering degree. So I did mechanical engineering with like an emphasis in aerospace. So like I took fluids too, and I learned about kind of rockets and stuff like that. But I didn't actually. I'm not technically. I don't have an aerospace degree.
And so have you always loved space? Like, why space? What is it about it that kind of has drawn you to it?
So I wish I had like a good origin story. Everyone tells these stories about like going out with their parents as a young age or seeing a rocket launch. I don't have anything like that. I had it was called The Big Book of Space when I was about 6 or 7, and I loved that. And the best way I can explain it is space has always been in my background. It's always been there. And I just kind of ignored it. I don't know why, but I did. And then when I finally accepted that I wanted to do space, it all just kind of flooded in and was put together very nicely. I think the biggest reason I like it is because I'm a big picture person, and it really is like a pretty big, so like big picture. You get all sorts of different things coming in from it.
Yeah, pretty much everything. And so in high school, did you decide that you wanted to, go into space? Was it that early about then that you're like, this is what I'm going to do, mechanical engineering with an emphasis in space?
So actually, weirdly enough, it wasn't until I actually got accepted to the Colorado School of Mines that I decided to become an engineer. I thought I was going to be like a journalist or a historian, kind of, because those were the things that really fascinated me. So I kind of like lucked into engineering, and God, I'm so thankful that I did because it's absolutely perfect for me. But yeah, like I said, not your typical engineer origin story.
But
My movie.
what I love about that is that you are a science communicator, and your journalism and love for communication is, you can use that in your pursuit of space.
Yeah, and that's been a very nice kind of tie-in for everything to kind of full circle. I get to write about space, I get to study space. I love it all. So
So thinking about space, are you a moon girl, Mars person, Earth, hanging out here and just looking up at the stars, international space? I
I'm
guess.
100% a moon girl. I'm fascinated by the moon. One of my favorite things is like just I always tell my friends, it's like I'm so fortunate for every day, every night that I walk outside, my big picture goal is like right there in the sky, because I love the moon so much. I absolutely, yep, there we go, yeah. I like lunar regolith, which is the moon dust. I like the idea of a cislunar economy and like having people living on the moon. I'm a moon girl. I like Mars, I like the ISS, but I'm a moon girl, 100%.
So when we're talking about the moon, and I know that you are going to graduate school right now, right?
I
And
am,
so
yeah.
tell us a little bit about that, and is the moon involved at all?
Very much so, and that's kind of what cemented my love for the moon. So this is kind of a new program. It's pretty unique. It's called Space Resources. So it's basically mining asteroids, mining the moon for water, using solar energy, using the lack of gravity in space as like an asset. Basically, all the resources in space. The overall picture is how we're going to get a permanent human presence. Because if we're trying to support all the life on Earth and all the life in space with the resources we have on Earth, we're just not gonna be able to do it all. So we have to figure out how to use what's out there in space to really live in space.
That's really fantastic. And so do you see yourself as one of the first people living in a moon habitat, if possible?
I would probably cry if that happened. That is my like ultimate dream. I always like when people say, "What's your goal?" I want to be part of the infrastructure of a lunar base. So I want to come. I want to be here on Earth. I want to design it. I want to put all the pieces together, and I want to go live in it. I want to like go make sure it all works together and do the research that I need to do. I think it'd be super cool.
Oh, I think that would be fantastic. And if it happens, which it will, I want Bailey's habitat. I want a postcard. Ideally, I want to come and visit Bailey's habitat. And but if not, you better be sending me a postcard or something.
I can do that. I'll bring a postcard for sure.
So when you're on the moon, what would you like to eat?
So I guess I have a very different kind of relationship with food, especially like from someone with you who like knows what they're eating and putting into their body. I do not do that as much. I really should, but I am fresh out of college, so I'm still learning. So I think the number one thing I'm kind of a bland eater, honestly. So kind of, I think like breads and pastas and all the carbs you're not supposed to eat, I'm perfectly happy with those. I don't know how that plays into a moon diet, but
well, I used to be completely into them too, and unfortunately, not so much as you get older.
Yeah, I'm waiting for that.
But all the things that you just named, things that I love: bread, mac and cheese, all of that, any kind of pasta dish. And now that I'm gluten free, boy! But it's been fun trying to figure it all out. But and so when you do your mac and cheese, do you do straight, no adding like anything in it?
Okay, so my mac and cheese kind of background is a little bit different. I was known in college for liking mac and cheese. It's a long kind of story, but basically I ate mac and cheese every Monday for 2 years. And it was like a whole thing. So I have had all kinds of mac and cheese. I love it all. I would frequently have like a bunch of friends come over and, like those ragers in college. I did that with mac and cheese. So we would all just bring a box of mac and cheese and we had like 20 packages of mac and cheese in a big pot. And so I'm a mac and cheese girl. And we would always experiment with like, bacon and like all the typical, try different cheeses. Actually, my favorite thing is crushed up Cheetos, which people think that's really weird.
Okay.
Normal or flaming hot Cheetos, just crushed up. Yep. I just saw Tyler commented. He was I went to college with Tyler and macaroni Mondays. Yep, that was a big thing.
So Tyler, can you confirm the Cheetos that actually tastes good, or does Bailey just think that it tastes good?
I think it's amazing. And I will say I'm not one for ketchup on mac and cheese. So like I've tried it, not a huge fan of that.
I can't even imagine. But when you said you had me at bacon. So bacon and anything. So now, do you still eat a lot of mac and cheese now that you're graduated and you're in the working world? I
don't eat it every Monday, and sometimes like I think about having mac and cheese and it makes me a little sick because I had so much of it in college. But I still will definitely eat it, on the occasion, or if I go out to dinner and they have like a fancy mac and cheese dish, I'll definitely get that still.
Oh, I love, fancy mac and cheese when you go out,
With like the cooked bread on top and everything.
And I like a little spicy. So for me, I wouldn't mind putting a little jalapeno in there just to spice it up a bit.
Ooh, that's a good idea. Shayla put ranch hot sauce. I think that would be really good too.
So here you are on the moon. You're having your mac and cheese.
Yep.
Who's having this meal with you? Who would you want to bring with you if you could bring anybody?
So I kind of took a little bit from, I think, Shauna, when she was on your show earlier. She said she would take the Possum 13. And I think I would agree with that because, I mean, in the last, like, I don't know how long it's been, 4 to 6 months, I don't know. But the Possum 13 has really become like a space family, if that makes sense. And I feel like being able to experience that with those girls, with my Possum squad, would just be like icing on the cake, basically. It'd be perfect. But if I have to choose just one, I chose Wally Funk. She was a Mercury 13 member back in 1961. I feel like a really deep personal connection with Miss Wally Funk because she was 23 when she joined the Mercury 13, and she was the youngest one. It was kind of a big deal, and I'm 23 right now. I like absolutely love her. I feel like our kind of enthusiasm for life and energy both kind of mirror each other. I was really hoping to meet her at the Space Symposium this year because I would be 23 when I met her. But I'll have to save that for when I'm 24, I guess.
So have you personally reached out to her? Have you communicated with her at all?
I have tried to find a way to communicate with her. I like reached out to different people I know who know her, and no one ever got back to me on how to like contact her. I would absolutely love to figure out how to like talk to her actually because like I said, I think she's amazing. I want to bring her to the moon because if you don't know the story of the Mercury 13, those were 13 women who pilot women who never got to go to space. They trained like the Mercury astronauts, but they never got to go to space. So I feel like bringing Wally to the moon with me would just be like, look, girl, I got you. Like, we are going to space together.
Oh, I love that. And maybe our common friend Ron can help us out there.
Yeah.
Because he seems
or maybe
to be.
Shayla. I know Shayla's
Shayla.
pretty well connected. Yeah. Maybe you guys can. I tell you, like, if I meet Wally in person, I will probably cry. So she needs to be ready for that. I need to be ready for that.
Yeah. Well, I hope I'm there because I will be filming that.
Good.
Just so it all gets archived, right? It's one of those things that's important. So do you cook? Did you grow up cooking or baking, or, now that you're living on your own and working, are you cooking and baking? Or are you taking out? What are you doing?
So I actually shared this conversation with my sister a little while back. Both of us, we don't cook. She's gotten to be a much better cook. So I think there's faith in me or hope for me later on to figure that out.
Is she older?
She's older. She's like 36, 37 now. So she's got a family and she has to cook. I don't need to do that yet. But so I like don't cook, but I don't take out food either. And both my sister and I, we were like, we don't know what we do. We eat food, but like I don't know where it comes from. So like I guess I eat a lot of like easy food, like sandwiches. I usually bring frozen meals for lunch at work. I haven't been doing that since quarantine. I've been trying to make a little bit. I make like breakfast sandwiches and pasta usually and stuff like that. So I'm trying to get into the cooking thing, but I'm so bad at it. Like I seriously burn water. It's so bad.
Do you have a go-to sandwich that you love?
I usually do like a fried egg with just like cheese and some mayo sometimes. And if I'm feeling it, like some meat, I'll make some bacon or just like turkey or something like that. It's pretty good.
Sounds actually delicious. Now I just might come visit you and get Bailey's breakfast sandwich.
Yeah.
And so pasta is a big thing. I see. It's one of your favorite dishes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's pretty easy to make. And that's actually one, if I do have to like make something for real, like more than just a sandwich, pasta is a really easy one because you can like make the pasta and then you know, veggies or meat of some sort and you just throw it all in and it all works together. It's an easy thing.
Do you, and I, that's it's always been one of my staples. And it's funny because I started off doing a lot of kind of pasta dishes, but then I got really into raviolis and just kind of stuffed with cheese and different things. And then I started doing toasted ravioli. And one of my best friend was like, oh, every time she came over, we have to have the toasted ravioli. Do you like a red sauce or a white sauce or a pesto?
I think I like white sauce best. I kind of like the Alfredo. And anything cheesy, like you're saying, I love raviolis. No clue how to make them, but like I love raviolis for that reason.
You know what? I don't know how to make them either. I've never made ravioli, but man, I love having that. And you're right, in a nice, creamy
Mhm.
Alfredo. Oh,
Okay,
that's
so I can tell you this about me. I am a huge texture eater, which sounds really weird, but if you meet someone that's a texture eater, they like completely understand what you're saying. And so like the Alfredo sauce, what you said, like the creaminess of it, that's what I like. And like bread, I like the texture of the bread or the pasta. So it sounds weird. You might be a texture eater somewhere out there if you prefer the texture over the taste of the food.
I would say that I'm kind of a combination of both. I like texture and I like the taste, but I definitely have things that I cannot eat because of the texture. Do you
Mhm.
have any like? There's no way I can get this down because the texture drives me crazy.
I do not like coconut specifically
Oh,
because of the
me
texture. Yeah.
too. Nobody understands that. I was gonna say that.
And I mean, like, I will drink like those like fruity drinks that have coconut whatever in it.
Flavor. I love the
Sure,
flavor.
yeah. Cannot eat the it just
It's like it never ends. The little pieces everywhere.
like
And
almond joys. I will not
nope.
eat an almond joy. Like
You are the first person who is my
yes,
kindred spirit with this. It's so bad that I mean, I sometimes have nightmares of having coconut in my mouth. I can never get rid of it. I think it's because my birthday fell on Easter when I was a
okay.
kid, and we had a party, and my mom insisted on making me a bunny cake covered in coconut, and I've been tormented ever since.
That's some serious coconut trauma you have there. That's
It,
pretty bad.
isn't it? And it's some little crunchy things. I can't. I also can't do bean sprouts. Yeah,
Really?
you know.
I
Yeah,
like so I completely understand that, but I like the crunch. Like the
yeah.
yeah, I like that, but I don't like the taste of them. I just like the crunch.
You do like the crunch. It's funny because I like crunch in almost everything else except that. There's something about bean sprouts that
You just don't like them? I don't trust them
I
either, don't
know.
worry.
I know. Yeah. So when you're having your gourmet mac and cheese,
Mhm.
what do you drink with it? Are you a beer, wine, coffee,
Yeah, so
soda?
I would say for the most part, I actually don't like alcohol all that much. Ever since I turned 21, I've been like trying to get into it. So I'm more of like an iced tea girl personally. I really
Oh,
like iced tea, sweet, unsweetened, that kind of stuff. But I have in recent years been getting into wine. Wine is kind of I don't know. I like the taste of it. Maybe it's because it's like fruit juice. I don't know if you get the super sweet stuff.
oh
Um,
yeah.
yeah. But I like a nice dry red Cabernet. That's probably my favorite.
Oh, that sounds nice. Dry red Cabernet. You know, it took me a long time. When I turned 21, not before then.
Never, never.
Uh,
No, yeah.
I never really liked beer, and then getting into wines. I first started out, I would get headaches if I drank red wine, but I discovered sweet white wines early,
Mhm.
and so I would start drinking those. And now I'm definitely a more dry red wine drinker. Well, I guess I like blends mainly, and
I like
so
blends, yeah.
yeah, they're really good. And so that's probably my go-to alcoholic drink. Although now I I don't drink as much as I used to.
Mhm.
And I think that I've started getting into those specialty cocktails like Truly that come into, it's a seltzer, hard seltzer.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's
I like so okay, going back to the texture thing, so I'm not a huge fan of carbonation, so I don't like soda pop and I don't like beer. And so I'm with the Trulies or the White Claws, that kind of stuff, I try to get into them, but the carbonation, I don't know. I don't like them. I don't like the bubbles. Like
I've gone back and forth on carbonation, which is really interesting. And so not I mean, I've never been a big beer drinker, but having a carbonated, and when I was a kid I had soda, but I haven't drank soda in like 15 years. It's too sweet for me now.
Mhm.
Um, but I used to find that when I drink some carbonated drinks, I would get a headache. And so I've been trying to correlate, and I don't know because I was going through all of this digestive stuff, and that's why I had to go gluten free. Where things that I drink, things that I eat, how it all falls in. Do you have any? Can you eat anything, or are you allergic to any kinds of foods?
Um, I think I'm actually pretty good, honestly, when it comes to allergies. I don't know of
Mhm.
any. I had like an immune response to something because I just recently went through foot surgery. So I had this weird immune response. So I did a bunch of like testing of like what food it could have been. And I think it was just the stress of surgery. So I could be allergic to something, I don't know, but I haven't had an issue since then. So
yeah, well, youngin, enjoy it while you can.
okay, wait, I need you to just 1 second, okay?
Yeah. So everybody who's listening, if you have a question for me, Bailey, food, any of that, please type it in the chat. Oh, yes, 7 Moons.
I had to bring it out because we're talking about wine.
That is fantastic.
Wine. It's pretty cheap. It's not a classy wine if you ask me, but it's delicious. So I recommend everyone go pick up a bottle of moon wine today.
Yes, I think I have one down in my wine rack right now also. So that's good stuff.
For the price you pay.
Are you a snacker?
Yes, I'm a very big snacker. I've tried to get out of it, but I almost like prefer snacking than over actual meals, which is supposed to be really bad. You're supposed to eat like 3 meals a day and maybe snack a little bit in between, but I'm totally a snacker. I would much rather snack.
I'm also a snacker. I used to be a 2 meal a day kind of person, but now that I've changed all my eating habits, I like my snacks. But the problem is I like salty. And I don't think that's good for me because
that's not supposed to be, yeah.
Too many potato chips and dips and those kinds of things. What are you snacking on?
I do a lot of potato chips as well. I think it's the crunch. I like power bars a lot, like the Cliff bars. So I will get like the mint chocolate one's my favorite, but any one of those. And weirdly enough, to Tyler's question that he just asked, I like mint chocolate, so I might have to go with Thin Mints. Maybe tag-alongs, but...
Are you sure we're not related? Because Thin Mint also.
We are.
And I just finished off last night the mint chocolate chip ice cream. And so I have to
tell you, there's some new Oreos out right now. They're thin Oreos with like mint in them, and those are so good.
Gluten-free?
Oh no, I forgot about that. I'll have yours. Don't worry. I'll take them.
That's what those are my favorite types of friends. The ones that are all of the good stuff that you can't eat.
Yes, I'm here for you.
And so what about the veggie tray? Are you into a lot of veggies or?
I like fruits more than veggies, I would say. Mm-hmm. When I was little, I actually went to the doctor and they asked what my favorite food was, and I said asparagus, and that like blew their minds. Like they were like, "You're like 7. Why is that your favorite food?" Right? So I like some veggies. I like corn and like peppers and stuff like that. But I love fruit. I like apples, bananas, strawberries, mangoes, oranges, all of them. I love fruit.
Okay, so I had a texture issue. I didn't eat a lot of fruit growing up because of texture issues, coconut being one of them, but seeds, raspberries, strawberries, anything that had a seed in it just would drive me nuts. Not an issue?
I can't do it with the grapes that have like the big seeds. I think I've gotten pretty good at ignoring the strawberry seeds and stuff. I think because I like the juicy kind of like flavor, kind of. So I like overlook the seed thing so that I can get the strawberry juice, I guess.
Oh, that's the same with I now can do strawberries and raspberries and stuff, but it took me, 50. It took me a long time to get there.
A lot of practice.
It did, but coconut,
never. No.
It's never going to happen. So, were you a party thrower in college? Are you a party thrower now?
So I would say I like having like my close friends over and stuff like that, or like going over to like my parents' house because I come from a big family. So when you say a party, it's mostly like my family that I think of. But I would say I like hosting and everything like that. And I just like being around people. I'm an extroverted engineer, which is kind of unique. So I like parties. I like going out and hanging out with people. So yeah,
that's a great combination. Now you said you come from a big big family. Do you have a lot of siblings?
Actually not too many. So we're Irish Catholic, so that tells you about how much of a party family we are. But I have 3 half siblings from my dad's side, and they all have kids. They're all significantly older. But my grandmother had 5 kids, and each one of her kids had between 2 and 6 kids, and each one of their kids are now. So we're up to like 19 great grandchildren or something like that. it happens very quickly, like when things start with 10 people.
And so do you, and so when you guys get together, you get together. Now, is anybody else in the space like you are?
Not really, actually. Surprisingly enough, my family has just been kind of along for the ride. They're just like, yes, that's super good for you, Bailey. I've got an uncle that's a nuclear physicist down in Florida. So like I went and stayed with him, and he likes space. He knows a lot about stuff because he lives by NASA. And then my other uncle, he wanted to be an astronaut. So when I first decided that I wanted to go on that trajectory, he was the first person I called. He ended up, he had like a health thing, and they couldn't fix it in time for him to like hit the astronaut class. So it was actually really, really sad. He worked really hard, and it just never happened. But he went into like finance. He went into like money, economics, that kind of stuff. So he isn't connected to space, but I think like somewhere in the back of his mind, it's still there. So sometimes we get on that topic and just kind of rant about it.
Oh, that's really great. I know that it's the same for me. My brothers, every time that I do something, they're just like, oh, bring me along for the ride.
Yep.
It's fun to be able to share that. Now, what about your nieces and nephews? Do they kind of look at you and they're like, oh, space?
I think I'm just their crazy Aunt Bailey, honestly. But yes, I try to be like their space influence. Whenever I go to like Johnson Space Center or Kennedy Space Center, I bring them back something. I brought them back little shuttles. I brought my nephew back a Dream Chaser, and I taught him that it goes up like a rocket and down like an airplane, and he loves that. He's like, I understand how it works. So I'm getting there. I'm getting them into space slowly. I'm pushing my agenda on them, but not too much.
I did the same thing with my nieces and nephews. I was like, every gift was
right? Like,
oh yeah. Now they're getting to the age where they're going off to college. And so it's fun to see kind of whether they're choosing a STEM career or, what they're thinking. And it's been fun to be able to say, well, I think I influenced that.
A little bit.
That's right there. Although my dad was a big science person, and he pretty much insisted that me and my siblings all get degrees in science or engineering, and we all did. So
okay, well that's good, like live up to the family name.
Yeah, that's right. I'm just getting in there. And so one of the things that I really love to think about is food and sustainability. And as a person that is early in your career, when you think about food and where you want, especially because I know that you're going to be influential in designing the, moon habitat and all of that kind of stuff. What do you think about the future of food and space, and what would you like to see in your habitat in the future?
So I went to the Humans to Mars Summit last year, and they had like a whole panel on this. I personally would love for food to become non-existent, and we can have like little pills, and then I just don't even have to worry about it. Like that would be so nice. It just gives me my vitamins. I'm good to go. That would be amazing. But one of the things they talked about in this panel was they are attempting to 3D print food, basically, which I think is absolutely crazy. I would love for that to actually be how things go, because it would be like the Jetsons, where they just were like, here's a hamburger. Like you could definitely do that with 3D printing. So it definitely would be an interesting dynamic if I were building a lunar base, if that makes sense. I think that would be a cool freeze dried, turn it into like a 3D printing material. But that's the engineer in me.
I really love that idea, and thinking about the future of food in space and the technology. And like you said, once you get it so that you take out 98, 99% of the water, and it's in that freeze-dried component, well, no reason why you can't mash it up and then inject it through a 3D printer, design stuff, and rehydrate it into an interesting meal potentially.
And that's exactly what they're doing, basically. And they have to use like they were perfecting like a more viscous fluid, because they tried to do just water and it was like gross. So they're trying to like do a balance of like oil and more viscous kind of fluids to make this actually happen, which I was just like, that's so futuristic. I love it.
I love that too. And so would you be a taste tester?
I'm a little scared because, like I said, I'm a texture eater, and I don't know how that texture is going to turn out.
Well, isn't that why we need you?
Yeah, sure,
see whether or not it has the right texture that somebody would actually want to eat it.
Yeah, I will gladly step into that role.
And so when we talk about food and space and, you know, the future and technology, in getting together with your family, I want to go down this idea of the party again and space themed party. Do you throw any space themed parties or want to throw any space themed
I
parties?
want to so badly. I would love to. I never have, honestly. My goal was to throw a space themed party for the Apollo 11th 50th anniversary. I wanted to do a big thing. I actually ended up being asked to speak on a panel at the Smithsonian, so I was in DC for that. But I think it was a good excuse, and so like the party never happened. I would love to throw space parties in general. That would be amazing.
The party happened at the Smithsonian.
That's true. Yeah, I brought the party with me.
Yeah. But so your family, was this a family event that you were thinking about throwing for the Apollo 11?
So I kind of tend to mix all my different friend groups and stuff like that. So I pretty much am like, if I like you, you're invited. So I would definitely invite my family. I would definitely invite, I have my Taekwondo family, I call them. So all of them are invited, all my college friends. So I like to like mix it all up. So I'm the type that I need to have a big house in the future with a big kitchen, so I can throw these massive parties with all my best friends and have fun together. Yeah.
I love that. You know, and I'm the type of person who likes to show up when an invitation is sent out. Just hint, hint, you know?
Great.
So,
I'll send one your way.
so is there anything else that you'd like to share with us?
Let's see. I think not off the top of my head. You guys probably got a pretty good feel for me if you don't know me already. I just really like space, and I'm excited to see all of us humans go into space and be there to stay. And obviously, if humans are in space, we're gonna need food to fuel ourselves. So I think basically, Cyan, what you're doing, I think is super fun. I think it's allowing people to think about food in a new way and kind of just evaluate how they do their food thing. So I think it's absolutely amazing, and I really appreciate you having me on.
Spoken like a true science communicator. And so you can you can follow Bailey. You're mainly on Instagram, right?
Yeah.
And so please share with everybody.
Yeah, so it's pretty much on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. You can find me on LinkedIn. I have my personal page, which is Ninja Near Girl. It gets kind of confusing. I'm a ninja, I'm an engineer, I'm a girl, Ninja Near Girl. And then I also have a space page for when my friends don't want to see how nerdy I am about space. It's a space story. So you guys can go to both of those. If you want Bailey, if you want space, pick your poison, I guess.
Yep. And so definitely worth following, because especially if you want to see Bailey's habitat develop and eventually be on the moon. I love that.
One day.
Thanks for joining in, everybody. And if you know somebody who should be on Space Snacks, I'm going to, after the broadcast, I'll drop it in the chat. Well, I guess on the Facebook feed, and please share it with somebody. Thanks for joining us. And Bailey, you have a great day.
You too. Bye, guys.
Bye, everyone.